Deep breath. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brianna Price for the student welcome.
Hey guys, we did it, woo! All right, just give me a second to knock out the formalities and I'll get back to talking about how great you were. I actually had my 6-year-old help me write this speech because I really wasn't sure what to say, but her best advice was, Mom, can you please just tell them how you had the best daughter in the world? So I actually had to carry most of the load, but in all seriousness, good afternoon, everybody. On behalf of the class of 2021, I would like to welcome Dr. Goldberg, Dr. Sterling, Dr. Soprano, Professor Mount, Dr. Rahman, Dr. Cosby, PA program, faculty, and staff, distinguished guests, and all of our family and friends who are both here today with us and who are watching from afar. We're so happy that you could join us. Today we're here to celebrate the 4th commencement ceremony of the Physician Assistant Program at Temple University's Lewis Katz School of Medicine. My name is Brianna Price, and I'm part of the graduating class today, and I could not be more honored to have been asked to speak with you. To my 30 classmates, who I now consider like family and lifelong friends, we really did it. It happened. I don't know about you, but there were definitely some times during those never-ending days in the windowless dungeon, our beautiful classroom that we considered home called Kresge C, that I thought this day might not ever come. I was thinking back to when it all started, and with a little help from Google, I found out it has been 793 days. 793 long days since our first day of orientation when we all met in Kresge C as strangers from all over the country, super nervous to start our journey. I'm sure we all remember that moment that we were introduced to Professor Isgin's ear-piercing screech and his wonderful Welcome to PA School speech that followed. I can't speak for everyone when I say this, but you'll be happy to hear that you were right. I cried a lot. We also lived off of lots of coffee, so thank you for your words of wisdom. But there is one thing that you forgot to mention. The admission board chose me to be a part of the best cohort that has come through Temple's PA program yet, and we made it together, and without them, I wouldn't be here. Our bond is strong, and I could not be more proud to be associated with each and every single one of you, and I know you're all going to make amazing PAs. My fellow graduates, you are some of the most intelligent, tenacious, ambitious, caring, and supportive individuals I have ever met. We challenged each other to strive for greatness, while also encouraging each other when the times got tough. Think about how far we've come, both individually and as a class. We faced many challenges over the last 2 years, not only in the classroom, but in our personal lives as well. We endured a global pandemic that turned what we thought was going to be a 2-week snow day into a 6-month class at Zoom University. I don't know about you, but I'd be happy if I never had to log into another Zoom class for the rest of my life. Side note, I'd also like to set a special shout out to all of our wonderful friends and family and stuffed animals who allowed us to practice our clinical skills on them throughout the quarantine. I'm sure being tickled with cotton balls and poked with paper clips is exactly how you imagine you'd be spending your COVID-19 quarantine. Can you actually believe this is the first time we've been together in the same room since March 13th, 2020? To be honest, I actually started to miss that windowless lecture hall because seeing your faces and sometimes your foreheads over Zoom every day just wasn't really the same. We started clinicals and it was great, but seeing each other was still a rarity. If we were lucky, sometimes we'd pass each other in the hall, or we'd get to sneak in a quick lunch together if we were on the same clinical site, but that didn't happen too often. I actually slightly got excited for EORs, end of rotation exams, because I knew that I would get to see you guys, if even for 10 minutes before we started our test. The adaptability and perseverance that you all shown as we navigated the uncharted territory of an all-virtual end to didactic year and clinical rotations during a pandemic is something to be proud of. No matter where we go or what we do, there will be challenges ahead of us in our careers, but I think our experiences here at Temple prepared us well. You've all taught me something over the past 2 years. Some of you helped me to be the cool mom and kept me in check with all the hottest tea, while others taught me things that I'll carry with me in my career and for the rest of my life. Namely, I'm grateful for you, for all of you, who facilitated and participated in uprooting racial stigmas and for the conversations that we had in light of the Black Lives Matter movement. Many of us were distraught by the ongoing social injustices and violence against people of color in our country. Focusing on school was difficult at that time, but our bond was strengthened as we used the opportunity to further educate each other on the disparities that people of color are facing in our country, especially in healthcare. To my classmates who openly shared your experiences, fears, and thoughts, thank you. I hear you, I see you, and I appreciate you for giving me a new perspective that I will carry with me through my career and the rest of my life. For some of us, the road to get here has been longer than others. Some of you were in the fast lane from undergrad, while a few of us, older like me, took the scenic route to get here where we hit a few speed bumps, and a few detours along the way. However it went, we've all had our own unique path to get here today, and I hope you can all look back and be so proud of what brought you here. Completing PA school is a major accomplishment, and I hope you never forget the feeling of success and excitement that you have as you sit here in these seats. I'm grateful our paths have crossed and aligned for the last 26 months, but I'm excited to see you all succeed as we go our separate ways. Today might be the end of one chapter, but it's exciting to know that in the next chapter, we get to start living our dream. You're all going to be wonderful PAs who will make a difference in the lives of the patients that you serve. We're going to face challenges, especially early in our careers, but don't be afraid to make mistakes. They will happen, and from them is the time that you're going to grow the most. Listen to your patients, be authentic, yearn for more knowledge, demand the best of yourself, and just be you, because I really think you're all pretty great. Thank you.
It is my pleasure now to introduce Dr. Amy Goldberg, the interim dean of the Lewis Katz School of Medicine.
Faculty, staff, families, friends, good afternoon and welcome. Isn't this truly an incredible occasion? As I was sitting up here with Professor Mount, I was reminiscing how back in 2018 at the first PA graduation, I was given the honor to address the class. And I can't really express how humbled I am to stand before you today as your interim dean. Thank you for all you've done for these amazing students. You have supported them through every high and low. Students, I am unbelievably proud of you, and it's an honor, and I am humbled, as I said, to stand before you today as your dean. Wow, you did it. It was hard, really hard. You persevered, moved past the doubts, the pandemic, and you truly did it. So be proud of yourselves. We're proud of you. Your friends and family are too. That's the thing about training to be a physician assistant. It is difficult. You learn a lot, but the learning and accomplishment comes from dedication and effort. To get to this day, graduation, you met a high bar of expectation. You prevailed, challenge after challenge, obstacle after obstacle. The didactic curriculum and learning a whole new language, the medical language, at first I am sure was demanding, yet that may have turned out to be the easy part of your education, because then you had the privilege to work with patients, to learn from your patients, and that wasn't easy. I am sure you had many unexpected interactions that no doubt humbled you. I can think of no more humbling an interaction than trying to comfort a patient and make them feel safe in an environment that is so foreign to them. And in the midst of this journey, a pandemic. Who would have expected that? I still find myself shaking my head in total disbelief. Then the sudden passing of Dr. Daly, our former dean, who we think about today, because we know how proud he was of the PA school and how important you all were to him. In spite of all these challenges, we prevailed as a school, as a community, and you all did too. That's the message here. That's what it's all about. Adapting, accommodating, adjusting, advancing. As you well know, adult life, professional life as a physician assistant is all about the A's, challenges, obstacles and tests, and I don't mean exams, are going to keep coming. That's how the practice of medicine is. That's how life is. So you have to bring your A game every day. Tuck it under your arm. Take it everywhere you go in the world. It will serve you well in your career, in all aspects of life. After all, you've already proven that you have everything it takes to succeed. A wealth of specialized knowledge and skills, compassion and commitment, professionalism and passion, fortitude and flexibility, capacity for self-reflection and self-direction, the ability to cope with ambiguity, and the ability to adapt. Please hear this and never forget it. No one is trained like the Temple physician assistant, and no one can take your training and your experience away from you because it becomes a part of you. Your potential as a Temple-trained PA is pretty amazing. The future is wide open, and I'm so excited for all of you. The profession you have chosen, the degree you now have in hand, is made for this very moment. You are needed. The demand is great for your skills. You are essential, pivotal to healthcare and the direction it is taking. Physician assistants are needed in hospitals and specialty centers, urban and rural, private practice, industry, military, nonprofit, academia, government. You are an indispensable part of the healthcare delivery team. Maybe you want to teach, maybe you want to travel the globe on medical missions. You can do it all, not just because you are a PA, but because you are a Temple-trained PA and a Temple-tough PA, resilient, and can handle anything. Look at all you've already accomplished to get to this day today, graduation. Class of 2021, my pride and honor in you go deep because like you, I am Temple-made. And we Temple-made people always have a home at Temple. Keep in touch with us, with one another. No matter where you go and what you do, you will always be part of the Temple family. Today, you can say it officially. I am a physician assistant. We are so very proud of you. Congratulations.
The class of 2021 chose this year's distinguished speaker due to her tremendous support, insight, and guidance. It is my honor to introduce Dr. Melanie Cosby.
Greetings, graduates, parents, families, friends, loved ones, Dean Goldberg, Physician Assistant Administration, faculty, and esteemed guests. First, let me say that I am beyond honored and humbled to be here this afternoon to offer remarks on such a joyous occasion. That said, I'll let you in on a little secret. I haven't had on a cap and gown since 1999, and so this is a big deal. Just saying. And while I love being an educator and fully embrace the responsibility that comes with teaching, I never considered myself a public speaker. And so, and for some who know me, they may find that to be a bit of a contradiction, since I'm seldom at a loss for words. Nonetheless, I'm a little bit nervous, and I thank you in advance for your grace as I attempt to use this moment that I have been gifted to offer some meaningful remarks to our amazing physician assistant class of 2021. I have titled my message, Living Your Legacy, a Call to Action, a declaration intended to acknowledge the seemingly multitude of concerning and disturbing events that have been happening in the world recently, and the power that you have to make the world a better place. I also want to be mindful to give voice to the historical significance. Those who do not know history are destined to repeat it, and sadly, these are not new challenges. Perhaps it's that we are more aware now because of technology and social media. Anyway, since being extended this gracious invitation, I've been pondering about it just about every day. I feel a tremendous responsibility not to squander the moment. How would I use the gift of your time and your attention? What would I want graduates and guests to leave being thoughtful about, internalize, and act upon beyond today? Graduates, when you entered the program 2 years ago, excited, anxious, hopeful, if you were not aware, it quickly became apparent that there was a lot going on around us. We had some things that happened in the building in 2019 prior to your arrival. Then there was the pandemic, which we've all mentioned, that shut down in-person operations in about March of 2020. A pandemic that continues to challenge families and communities across the country in unimaginable ways. Shortly thereafter, we witnessed on national television the public murder of Mr. George Floyd by police officer Derek Chauvin, who knelt on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, despite his pleas for mercy. We cannot address what goes unacknowledged. And these most recent events make it increasingly difficult for us to live in denial and not see. Once we see, we cannot unsee, but we can, however, choose to ignore. I am hopeful that in living your legacy, you will choose differently. I would argue that the aforementioned events are all related in some way, and as a community, we should all be concerned. Perhaps your roles as future healthcare providers, perhaps in your roles as future healthcare providers, you are most concerned about the pandemic. Perhaps because you trained here at the Lewis Katz School of Medicine at Temple University and completed some of your clinical rotations at Temple University Hospital. Perhaps because of that, you may be especially concerned about the disproportionate rates with which people are dying. Black and brown people in this community, in Philadelphia, and across the country. Reflecting on my short and joyful, impactful time, mutually so, with your program, I recall a few particularly meaningful moments that continue to warm my heart and give me hope. I have appreciated the size of your cohort and witnessed and experienced a sense of community and willingness to lean in. Thank you for that. As a member of the admissions committee, I've greatly appreciated hearing the stories and connection, kindness, and efforts toward relationship building with patients. Many of you noting, especially being drawn to the profession because of the value placed on being able to spend a little extra attention with patients in order to connect with them. Some drawn because of the ability to spend more time and engage with them in order to alleviate some of their fears and concern. The ability to have the time to offer an additional dose of comfort and care. So graduates, clearly you are well on your way, off to a great start. Now that you've completed your program, now that you are transitioning to the next part of your career journey as physician assistants, how will you live your legacy? What is the legacy that you want to leave for future generations, for your children, for your grandchildren, for your nieces and nephews? What messages are you and actions are you demonstrating for them? As a society, we've become pretty disconnected and disengaged. Disengagement is a recipe for dehumanization, which, as we have witnessed most recently in the context of criminal justice and healthcare, can be disproportionately deadly. But these things are fixable. They are changeable, and you all are the future. And with that in mind, our future is bright. It is critical that you are thoughtful about the ways in which we individually and collectively are perpetuating inequality, perpetuating the status quo, so that we can actively and intentionally do better. This is where living your legacy, a call to action, comes into play. Perhaps you did not create the challenges and problems that we are speaking of and speaking about today. Perhaps you were not directly involved in the choices, practices, and behaviors of centuries ago that have resulted in where we find ourselves today. However, here we are, all a part of a system, and in that system, as people and providers, you have the power to disrupt the status quo. You all are the future, and you have an opportunity, a responsibility to do better and to do your part in making things better. You are living your legacy right now. What shifts would be helpful for you to make? In the spirit of living your legacy, what shifts are you willing to make? How can you be more intentional about the legacy that you want to leave behind? Here are a few suggestions. Make contact. Make contact with people who look differently from you, who hail from different backgrounds different from your own. Contact means moving beyond our segregated spaces. Seek connection. Expand and diversify your friendship and interpersonal circles. Connection being more than just being in the same place. It requires engagement. Engage in conversations means talking with others, learn about their lived experience, share their lived experience, share your lived experience. Much of what we know about others is not from direct contact, and so engaging with one another is especially important. And I say this, I'm going a little bit off script here, but I'm saying this about contact and connection and getting to know people, getting to know the other, getting to see the humanity in the other, because much of what's happening with healthcare disparities, some would argue, have not much to do with what happens in the hospital and in the clinic. It has very much to do with how we don't know each other and one another as a community. And so much of the work that you have to do, that we all have to do moving forward, has to do with engaging with one another and building this community. Back to script. Okay, so, all right, resist complicity, demonstrate courage. Consider how your actions may be maintaining the status quo. You see the theme here. Live your legacy, disrupt the status quo. Derek Bell, in Faces at the Bottom of the Well, defines courage as a decision you make to act in a way that works through your own fear for the greater good as opposed to pure self-interest. Courage means putting at risk your immediate self-interest for what you believe is right. Show compassion. Provide the care that you would expect and demand for your own loved ones. See the humanity in people who are different from you and your patients who hail from different backgrounds. See them. See their humanity. Listen, truly hear, and comprehend other stories from their perspective, and also to be fair and just. And of course, for you all, these are things that you're doing already. And so some of this is just like, keep doing what you're doing, do the best you can, and then do a little bit more, right? And you are well on your way. Cultivate relationships, create and deepen community. In his book, Deepening Community, Paul Bourne shares that community is defined as a group of people that care about each other and feel they belong together. Wouldn't that be wild and wonderful if we felt that way about our neighbors, about our fellow man, woman, person, right? That would be radical, and yet it shouldn't be, right? When people care about each other, says Boren, they develop trust. Trust unlocks collaboration, sharing, support, hope, safety, and much more. You all, just based on what I've heard and what I've witnessed and experienced, you all have done that and continue to do that. And so the call to action is about continuing to do what you're doing already, but expand the circle. Bourne explores what he calls the 4 acts of community life, which is much of what we've talked about already. So sharing your stories, taking time to enjoy one another, taking care of one another, working together for a better world, right? And so, again, moving beyond our segregated spaces, doing those things which you already do, but integrating and diversifying who you do those things with. And that requires some intentionality. It's not a thing that is very natural for any of us. But again, I would contend that that has a direct connection to the practice of healthcare, medicine, and impacts healthcare disparities, the ones that we see. So I ask, how are you living now, parenting now, working now, engaging now, teaching now, mentoring now, leading now, relating now, intentionally and every day in order to be a better ancestor? Perhaps you are planting seeds for trees that you may not sit under. We have a responsibility to know better, to do better, and to be better. Lost my place here. In closing, here we go. That's important, right? In closing. In closing, I'd like to offer a quote from James Baldwin, who writes, "The obligation of anyone who thinks of himself as responsible is to examine society and try to change and fight it at no matter what risk. This is the only hope that a society has. This is the only way societies change." And so, again, I close by saying, how are you living your legacy? Your legacy is now. You're living your legacy right now, each and every day. How do you want to leave the world better than when you found it? What role will you play in that? This is a call to action. Look around you. We need to do some things differently and better. And you are the future, and the future is now, and we have the power to change together. Thank you.
It's time. All right. It is now time for the hooding and presentation of degrees. Will the class of 2021 please make their way to the stage?
Okay, who's going first? Francesca Abramson. I am so sorry. Abramson. Alejandro Aguilar.
Thanks, family. I appreciate everything. I couldn't have done it without you. Bright and promising future. Thanks.
Jennifer Rose Caruso.
Thank you to my family and friends, and I just want to give a shout out to my cousin Swirls.
Alexander Surratt.
Shout out to Amelia DeBellis and James Philingame.
Connor Crawford.
Thank you, friends and family, for your support. We made it.
Olivia DeBellis.
I just want to say thank you to my grandparents who are watching and any of my other friends and family. I love you guys so much. Thank you for everything.
Joshua Evans.
Shout out my family, Kirsten, love you guys.
Rachel Benstemacher.
I want to thank my family and friends who were able to make it and those who weren't, and special shout out to my nieces and nephews, Jake, Nora, Annabelle, and Lily. I love you guys.
Eric Billingame.
Hey, Pops, Grandma, love you guys. Thanks for watching.
Sarah Hartenbaum.
Thank you to my friends and family.
Michelle Victoria Dominique Harvey.
So I would like to say thank you to my mom, to my dad, to my fiance, my grandma, my sister, my best friend, Yeah, thanks, guys.
Rachel Howery.
I want to say thank you to Pop-Up and Grandma and Nona and Nono and all my friends, both here and far. Your prayers and support were really helpful.
Marquise Jefferson.
And just thank you to my friends and family. Appreciate you guys.
Ayette Janine Kassid.
I just want to thank God, my family, my friends, and DoorDash. Thank you.
Nicholas Lamb.
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you to my family, and go Birds.
Caitlin Liberisher.
I want to thank all my friends, family, and mentors that got me to this point, and to all the mice that kept me up at night.
Sydney Martin.
Hi, everyone. This is for my amazing grandparents, Nana and Pops, and to my family here and any other family or friends that are watching. Thank you so much.
Rachel Yanger Munch.
Thank you so much to my friends and family who are here today and watching at home. I love you so much, Dad and Zach, and especially my Rosie.
Trent Twee Pham.
Hi, everyone. I would like to shout out my brothers at home, Julie, Nanner, I love you guys, the Cousins group chat, CCC, and Jared, Mariana, love you guys. Thank you for the support.
Brianna Price. Schultz.
Thank you to my friends and family that are here and are watching. Love you guys.
Sharon Shadani.
Thank you to my family for all of your blessings. I wouldn't be here without you. I love you.
Somil Shaw.
This is for my family, friends, cousins. We made it, homies.
Shavante Tayshawn Tate.
Special thanks to all my friends and family that supported me through this long process. Mama, I made it.
Wendy Torres.
Muchas gracias a mi familia, a mis amigos. A huge shout out to my husband, Moises, and for my beautiful baby daughter. This is for you.
Amara Unebu Obuena.
I want to thank God. I want to thank my family and the rest of my classmates for supporting me through this journey. Shout out to my sister-in-law, my nephew in the way, and Olivia. I love you guys.
Dana Van Doren.
Hi, family. Thank you so much for supporting me. I love you, and I can't wait to be back with you soon.
Rachel Vogel.
To all my friends and family out in California, especially my mom. Hi, Mom. Thanks so much for all your support. I love you guys so much. We did it.
Sarah Ware.
Hi to everyone watching at home. I love you guys. I couldn't have made it this far without you.
Claire Weisskopf.
I just want to say thank you to all my friends and family. I love you guys.
Aubrey Wilcox.
It's times like these when you see who's really there to support you. So thanks everyone out there, you know who you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating the class of 2021.
I would now like to introduce Josh Evans, President of the Class of 2021.
Good afternoon. I'd first like to thank Dr. Goldberg, Dr. Sterling, oh yeah, that's right, take these off and around. Dr. Soprano, Professor Mount, Dr. Rahman, Dr. Cosby, the PA faculty and staff, distinguished guests, and family and friends, both in person and on live stream. Thank you for being here to celebrate this great milestone in our professional careers. I'd also like to quickly acknowledge the fact that our faculty rewrote the entire curriculum overnight in the middle of a pandemic. That had to not be easy at all, and we thank you for it. To my classmates, we made it. It's done. Just like Odysseus in the Greek classics, finally sailing back into Ithaca, we've managed to navigate the stormy seas of didactic year, defeat the one-eyed monsters of clinical year, and soon our voyage together will be complete. I know in my gut, some of the most kind-hearted, empathetic, and capable individuals are seated in front of me, and it's been life-changing getting to know you guys over the last 26 months. The lessons, not only in the classroom, but the ones we've taught each other during our time here, I hope carry with us once we leave this building. To say you're all going to make great providers would be a vast understatement. As a quick aside, and I'm unsure if Professor Mount recalls this story or not, but during my interview process for a seat in this program, Professor Mount had asked me what I could tell her that she didn't already know from my application, resume, or whatever else we had to send in at the time. Instead of doing the smart thing and bolstering my chances with an anecdote of patient care, volunteer experience, what have you, the only thing that popped into my head and what I said at the time was, well, I once went 9 days without showering while backpacking. To which Professor Mount smiled and asked, why? While I was desperately trying to explain myself, I had mentally crossed off Temple as the list of PA schools that I thought I'd get into, because I thought I blew it. Evidently, by me being here, that was exactly the quality this program wanted. Or so has been the running joke in my family. Intentionally keeping with a hiking theme, one of the most challenging aspects to walking up steep hills for fun is not quite knowing when exactly you're going to reach the top. Sure, you could look at with your own eyes directly what's in front of you, but sometimes that could even be deceiving. Sometimes a slope of a mountain is so steep, so challenging, that its true peak is hidden behind what we see as the top. This phenomenon being called a false peak. The trap being that one would forego taking breaks, resting, and put all their energy into tirelessly climbing up the mountain to get to that point before realizing they had longer to go and nothing mentally or physically to give. I can't help but think of that hypothetical hiker and the lesson we can learn. We have no doubt put an ungodly amount of time and effort into our training. However, I would argue that it's almost equally as important to budget out time for yourself after leaving this room. Go on vacation somewhere nice, take up a new hobby, decompress from the last 2 years. You've earned it. Medicine will still be here when you get back, and there will be various other pathologies, guidelines, tests, treatments to look at in the future. It's going to take the same amount of enthusiasm and willingness to learn on our jobs as it did in school. So please take time for yourself so that you don't burn out, because we are all still destined for higher peaks. I wanted to take the rest of my limited time up here to talk about an issue that has most likely plagued every provider in this room at one point or another, whether they like to admit it or not. It's that little voice in the back of your head whispering, "You can't do this," or "You're not good enough." It's louder on some days and quieter on others, but nevertheless, it's still there. I'm talking about imposter syndrome. Yes, imposter syndrome, that stubborn state of mind, and I say stubborn because in this case, despite beating out literally thousands of applicants for a very limited number of seats, making it through the rigors of a program standardized to such a high level, going through various patient encounters, passing numerous comprehensive tests, we will still find a reason to convince ourselves we simply don't belong. Why is this so widespread in our profession? Is it our inner self trying to bust that Dunning-Kruger curve and not be dangerously overconfident? Or maybe it's that because going into medicine places yourself above, or others above yourself. Sorry. That person's life is in your hands. And like so many providers have said, we're just trying to do right by the patient, and we don't want to mess that up. Regardless, with time, I'm sure we'll all get used to that burden. With time, it will get easier. And with time, that little voice will slowly go away. No one could learn all the intricacies and nuances to patient care in just 2 years. Give yourself some time to grow. In closing, I wanted to summarize my rants and ramblings in one final mantra for you guys that I hope you all take with you after leaving today. And that is, be kind to yourself. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, class of 2021. It's been an honor being your president.
I would like to welcome Professor Christine Mount, the director of the PA program.
Good afternoon. I would like to welcome all of you to today's ceremony. It is truly my honor to be speaking to the Lewis Katz School of Medicine at Temple University Physician Assistant student graduation today. I'll get to you guys, I promise, but I would like to start and take just a few seconds to thank many of the people who are involved in getting you to this point. First, the administration and leadership of LKSOM and Temple University, who have provided support that is necessary for both this program and to help navigate trying times such as the pandemic. They have done an amazing job of keeping you guys out on student rotations when we thought it might take much longer than we expected. I would like to thank the medical school course directors and clerkship directors who have guided your education from the first day you came to campus and will likely continue with different phrases and sayings in your mind that they have instilled in you. To the clinical faculty who lectured to our students and provided them with that one most important piece of tidbit of information times 500 or 600. I would also like to thank the principal, faculty, and staff of the PA program. Everyone here knows how hard PA school is, and they choose to continue to live it year after year. Your family, friends, and loved ones, both in person and watching from home, also deserve our congratulations. Thank you for the support, love, and understanding that you have extended your loved ones during the last 26 months. I am one of those people who is honestly grateful to love their job. I love teaching students, and I love caring for patients when they are at their most vulnerable. And being able to do both is very satisfying. You can have that same impact. Find what you love. The impact this class can have on patient care is absolutely astounding to me. If the average provider sees 20 patients per day, the combination of new and returning patients, that correlates to 620 daily patient visits. If we take that out for the whole year, it's more than 160,000 patient visits that just you will be responsible for. So be an advocate for each and every one of those patients. The most important impact that you can have is to treat each patient like they are your only patient that day. Take the time. Every patient will need you to listen, so take the time. Listen to their concerns, listen to their problems, and listen to their families. You can be their medical expert, you can be their medical hero, but only once you establish trust and rapport with that patient. You will be surprised how far lending an ear will go in establishing that trust, building that rapport, and generally just making the patient-provider relationship better for both of you. You can make an impression that will last forever in the minds of your patients simply by listening. I know that you are all great healthcare providers. So, if the class of 2021 would please stand. In closing, I would like to add my congratulations to the Lewis Katz School of Medicine at Temple University Physician Assistant Class of 2021, and I am now proud to call you my colleagues. At this time, please move your tassel from the right side to the left.
It is my honor to be able to announce the recipients of this year's program awards. Academic Excellence. This award recognizes the student with the highest overall GPA in the graduating class. This year's recipient of the Academic Excellence Award is Dana Van Doren. Professional Excellence. This award identifies the student who has consistently demonstrated dedication to the program and profession, a commitment to lifelong learning, and who has upheld the highest professional standards throughout the program. This year's winner of the Professional Excellence Award is Rachel Vogel. Excellence in Leadership. This award recognizes the student who has demonstrated leadership through service to the cohort, program, and profession. This is someone who has proven themselves to be a true peer leader. This year's recipient of the Excellence in Leadership Award is Wendy Torres. Pi Alpha, the National Physician Assistant Honor Society. Membership in Pi Alpha signifies the inductees' significant academic achievement and honors them for their leadership, research, and community and professional service. The society also encourages a high standard of character and conduct among students and graduates. The motto of Pi Alpha is scholarship, service, leadership. This year's inductees are Amara Unebu Ogbana, and Dana Van Doren. This year, we are also inducting someone who has rendered distinguished scholarship, leadership, and professional service to the PA profession through the education and training of our physician assistant students. As overwhelmingly nominated by our students, this year's honorary inductee into Pi Alpha is Dr. Melanie Cosby. Let us now welcome our medical director, Dr. Saqib Rahman.
Thank you. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak. Appreciate the opportunity. Nobody's passed out yet. It's been hot up here. Congratulations to the students. Thank you for letting me be a part of your 2 years here. You know, I hear this a lot. We often say that practice of medicine is like a science and it's an art. And I've always felt, you know, maybe it's semantics, but, you know, I don't completely agree with it. Is it a science? Yes. I've been studying science the last 2 years. I think it's fair to say we all believe in science. We believe in the scientific method. We trust clinical decisions founded on good science. Arguably, a paper with level 1 evidence is good science. We don't always have that. Sometimes it's level 3 or 4. But I would say even crowdsourcing or clinical experience, level 5 studies, it's still science. And when our science is inexact, or when it's fuzzy and it's far from evidence-based, I still think it's more science than art. I mean, art has many definitions. Most of them involve the use of creative imagination, visual art, music, dance. These things are examples, literature. I don't think medical practice is quite in that category, but there is something else other than science, right? You know, as medicine becomes more informed and our science and our knowledge base goes from like more level 5 to level 1 evidence, then what's the practitioner's role, right? I mean, why not have IBM Watson? Why not have just artificial intelligence make the medical decisions and have robots do my job with the surgery? Why not just Google, right? There used to be a massive information gap. I think when I went to med school, we didn't have it. We were the gatekeepers, right, of information. And it was like this in all industries, right? Now you have Dr. Google, and we mock that. I mean, I think to some extent we have to embrace it. That information gap is closed. But even when that information is now out there, and we know our patients have access to that information, we're not the gatekeepers anymore. You still have to be there to help put it in context, right? To help patients sort through, fake news, right? From what you think is accurate stuff. Maybe what's a bad study from, here are some real good clinical guidelines. This is why I have you on this diuretic, for instance, rather than what you read about, but here's some information that maybe refutes the information that you had, and here's something that you brought me that's really good. So I think we're almost getting to the point where you got to accept that's out there. You just have to help curate some of that information. So what about, why not we just consider AI and robots? Well, what else? Well, I think there's really two things you need to do to help your patients. One is fix their problems, right? And a lot of what we've learned, a lot of what you're going to do, and honestly, when you have a patient come to you, they want you to fix their problem, okay? I mean, I do orthopedic surgery. I mean, if someone comes to me and I can't literally fix their bone, I might be nice, but they're like, we need someone to just fix the problem. It's, But, so that's the first thing. But the second thing is we have to be able to empathize with our patients. You've heard this already by multiple distinguished speakers here. You have to show that you care. And hopefully you truly do care, but you really have to show that to your patients. And the fact is, this creates trust. This has been studied. It creates trust. Patients are more engaged in their healthcare decisions. It actually can lead to better outcomes. And I think, like Professor Mount suggested to some extent, even when the healthcare system as a whole fails our patients, we should never fail them, that person in front of you, in showing compassion and empathy. Patients are going to look to you as a source of healing, as a source of hope. I can give you an example. A patient I finished treating recently, hopefully. The problem's fixed. It's a patient who had a tibia fracture, something I see a lot of, and actually came to me from another hospital. And he was treated fine. The surgeon, as far as I could tell, did everything according to the book to fix the problem. And it's just a case of something that just didn't heal. And I really couldn't stand there and tell the patient that the surgeon, the treating physician, did anything wrong. But I could sense that patient felt that the doctor didn't care, that once things weren't going well, they kind of thought they did what they had to do and kind of were like, sorry, nothing I can do for you. And just after that first visit with the patient, already they were like, listen, you've listened to me more than that other person did. I can already tell this is going to go better now. And it wasn't a complex problem to fix. And fortunately, we were able to get him to heal. He just kind of lost trust in the other person because they thought they didn't care. That happens, and we're all sometimes on the other side of that when we get busy. So just remember that. You probably have had similar stories. When you're a student, sometimes you have a lot of time to spend with the patient. You're going to see when you get out there, it's a little pressure, the tables will turn a little bit. So I think medicine is definitely part science and part compassion. I think those times when the decisions are a little bit fuzzy, you can always still do something for your patient, always show that you care. It actually does count. So don't forget that second part. Last thing I would say is never stop learning. I always say this, I think, every time I get up here, or if I'm asked to get up here. You've been in school for years. You've been learning all this time. So now you want to get out, you want to do something, you want to earn something for yourself and supporting your families. But just remember, if your work really is your calling, we heard a little bit about admissions. If you were writing stuff when you came here that, this is my calling and I really want to be a PA, if that's really true, then you're going to want to get better, as a physician assistant by learning, once you're out of here, once you get going, there's always continuing medical education, learn something else, move over to a new field. You have the opportunity to do that as a physician assistant. Learn a second language if that's helpful for where you're practicing. And like Stephen Covey says, sharpen the saw. Always work on continuous improvement of your craft. It doesn't stop here. So again, congratulations to you all. Really proud of you guys. I know you're going to make us proud. And I know we'll be in touch with some of you. And congrats. Congrats to all of you.
That's all right. Molly Peters, MMS, PAC, was the president of the class of 2020 and was inducted into Pi Alpha. She currently practices critical care medicine. She will now offer the alumni remarks and administer the physician assistant oath.
Thank you to the PA program, faculty, staff, and to the class of 2021 for inviting me back to speak this afternoon for your graduation. I speak for the class of 2020 and for all Temple PA program alumni when I say congratulations. We're proud of you, your mentors are proud of you, and we're proud to soon have you in our ranks as fellow PAs and Temple PA alumni. Before I move on, I want to join almost everyone on the stage and take a few lines to recognize your response as our program navigated the COVID-19 pandemic. As the world opens up and the sun shines on all of our faces once again this summer, you should know that the flexibility that you showed, quickly pivoting that didactic year in the remote setting, and more notably, beginning clinical year by diving headfirst into the murky waters of acting as a provider during the worst global pandemic in the 21st century, will continue to serve you all well in the future. As for the rest of what I have to say, I feel like the main purpose of the alumni speech is to reflect on the last year as a new graduate myself and say a bunch of stuff that was helpful to learn in the hopes that maybe a few kernels of information might help ease the transition for you all into your role as healers out in the world. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Last year, my class was fortunate enough to have the great Dr. Bruce Maybine as our graduation speaker. Dr. Maybine is an OBGYN, and I distinctly remember him teaching us during our didactic year about the 4th trimester of pregnancy. Those of you in the audience might be scratching your heads, especially those of you with kids who distinctly remember pregnancy only having 3 trimesters. As it turns out, there's a period of time after the baby is born where mom has so many physiologic changes occurring that the OB community has generally accepted that pregnancy does not simply end on the baby's birthday. If everyone will bear with me through the rest of this overburdened metaphor, I feel like the first year postgraduate is kind of like the 4th trimester of PA school, except our new grads feel like both mom and baby. There's a tremendous sense of pride and happiness, coupled with the stress of finding a new job and functioning as a brand new provider where suddenly you are the end of the line, making life-changing decisions for your patients on a daily basis, no matter what setting you work in. There's a profound relief that the barrage of weekly and monthly assessments has finally come to an end, but there is the pressure of the PANCE right around the corner and the drive to uphold the 100% PANCE pass rate that is such a sense of pride for our program. When I found myself overwhelmed during this 4th trimester, I fell back on a skill that I developed during PA school and one that many new and experienced providers use to keep themselves organized during crazy days, breaking the day up into tasks. I brandish my 4-color pen and set forth into corralling the chaos into some sort of structure, soothed by the black, green, blue, and red ink. My patient in 61 needs to go for a stat CT, so that checkbook has to go in red for high priority. 65 needs a paracentesis, but I can put it in blue since it can be done in the afternoon, so on and so forth. The problem with chunking your day into tasks like this is that you can easily lose sight of the big picture, the why you wanted to be a PA that we all went on and on about in our interviews for this program. So to end my speech today, I want to share with you 2 tasks, only 2, and they can be written in the color of your choosing, to add to your list each day so you don't lose sight of your why. The first was shared with me quite recently by a nurse practitioner that I work with who has cared for patients in the heart and vascular ICU at the Hospital of University of Pennsylvania for more than 15 years. She told me to always be the provider that is pushing for your patients to progress, no matter how long they've been with you or how sick they are. Don't allow your team to become complacent, to give up on anyone, no matter how dire their illness appears in the ICU or how many appointments they've missed in the clinic. Progress can be infinitesimal and aimed towards recovery, and sometimes progress can look like moving towards end of life with dignity. but be that team member that always demands the best for your patients. The second task is certainly going to make a few of you roll your eyes, which I know because when this advice was given to me about this time last year, I rolled my eyes as well. I was leaving Kresge C, or the dungeon, as it was called earlier, after our final skills assessment, and I shared with Dr. Dave DeFilippo that I was so excited because the studying would be over soon, we just had to get through the pants. I remember this vividly because it made me so mad when he smiled at me and said, "Molly, you'll never stop studying, it's your job." As usual, he was right. My advice to you is this: at first, you're gonna be treading water and that's okay. There's so much to learn on the fly that sitting down and reading something new will just seem like too much to ask. However, there will come a point when you have 5 minutes to sit down, take a deep breath, sip a cup of coffee, and read that interesting paper that a colleague mentioned or that was talked about during rounds. That moment is your cue that it's time to start learning something new as often as you can. As often as you can, keep working on yourselves and evolve into a better provider each and every day. Once again, thank you and congratulations to the class of 2021. We're all looking forward to having you in the field with us soon. So, graduates, could you please stand and join me for the pronouncement of the PA oath? It's on the back of your program if you haven't found it. I pledge to perform the following duties with honesty and dedication. I will hold as my primary responsibility the health, safety, welfare, and dignity of all human beings. I will uphold the tenets of patient autonomy, beneficence, non-maleficence, and justice. I will recognize and promote the value of diversity. I will treat equally all persons who seek my care. I will hold in confidence the information shared in the course of practicing medicine. I will assess my personal capabilities and limitations, striving always to improve my medical practice. I will actively seek to expand my knowledge and skills, keeping abreast of advances in medicine. I will work with other members of the healthcare team to provide compassionate and effective care of patients. I will use my knowledge and experience to contribute to an improved community. I will share and expand knowledge within the profession. These duties are pledged with sincerity and upon my honor. Congratulations, class of 2021.
To close our ceremony, please welcome Michelle Harvey.
Good afternoon, family, friends, and my amazing cohort, also known as the boring ones. I know it might seem hard to believe, but I, Michelle Harvey, am a rather reserved person. In a room full of strangers, I would simply blend into the wall or find my one person to talk to for the rest of the evening. In true Michelle fashion, when I arrived to Temple, my plan was just that. Within a month, I had my girls, Amara and Wendy, and I was cordial with all of my classmates, but for the most part, I was pretty reserved, quiet, and comfortable. On September 21st of 2019, we had our official white coat ceremony. We were excited to finally get our first white coat. We knew the respect and the power that came with it, and I was sure that it would be a symbol of my ability to change people's lives. But beyond the respect and power of the white coat, we took an oath to assume the greatest responsibility the coat carries, to give selflessly for the lives and health of others. As I put each arm in my coat and shimmied the white coat on my shoulders, I vowed to never, ever be quiet and never, ever get comfortable. And so my message to you all today is just that. As we move forward as providers, remember the responsibility that comes with our white coat. As providers, we have a duty to speak up for other people, be a voice for the silenced, and advocate for our patients every single time. Remember the George Floyds and Breonna Taylors in this world, and that their lives matter, and that their lives mattered. As providers, our job is to relinquish comfortability. I expect us all to push the bounds of our knowledge, of our skill, reshape and remold the scope of our specialties, craft our work to better serve our patients. Comfortability breeds complacency, and when the PA profession is only 3.5% Hispanic, 38% male, and 3% African American, there is no room to be comfortable. Millions of people lost their lives due to COVID during this extremely challenging year, and there was no room for comfort. Even as students, we were challenged to see patients at an unprecedented time when the entire population was vulnerable. And that uncomfortability grew providers who are now trained and skilled in areas that they might have never been. I am so proud to have been shaped by you all, faculty, friends, providers. A special thank you to the amazing Dr. David DiFilippo, to my lovely advisor, Erin Kalonsky, and to Dr. Cosby. On behalf of the Black Society of Physician Assistant Students, congratulations to the greatest cohort to ever do it. We survived a pandemic and are titled the boring ones. And as we go forward in life pursuing our separate paths, I hope you all will continue to speak up, stand out, and make change. Never ever be silent and never ever be complacent. We are finally living out our dreams. Again, congratulations, my fellow PAs. May we show the world how advanced practice providers get down, and may we always remind them that we are Temple made.
Will the class of 2021 please rise? Turn and accept the applause of your family and friends. You guys can sit down. Thank you all very much for being part of this very special day. I now ask the stage party to please rise and process out. Please enjoy the student slideshow of memories documenting the past 26 months.
Somebody would have told me, babe, someday these will be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. Someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of these good old days.
We were underground, loading merch in that 12-passenger van, in a small club in Minnesota, and the snow outside of First Ave. I just wanted my name in the star. Now look at where we at, still growing up, still growing up. I would lay in my bed and dream about what I've become. I would lay in my bed and dream about what I've become. Couldn't wait to get older, couldn't wait to be some. Now that I'm here, wishing I was still young. Those good old days.
I wish somebody would have told me, babe, that someday these would be the good old. You won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. 'Cause someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of the good old days.
Wish I didn't think I had the answers. Wish I didn't drink all of that glass first. Wish I made it to would've gotten out of my show. Wish I put the bottle back on that shelf. Wish I wouldn't have worried about what other people thought and felt comfortable with myself. Rooftop open, and the stars above. Moment frozen, sneaking out and falling in love. Me, you, and that futon. We just begun. On the grass dreaming, figuring out who I was. Those good old days.
I wish somebody would've told me, babe, that someday these would be the good old days. All the love you won't forget, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. 'Cause someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of the good old days.
Never thought we'd get old. Maybe we're still young. Maybe you always look back and think it was better than it was. Maybe these are the moments. Maybe I've been missing with this, thinking about the past while missing out on now. We've come so far. I guess I'm proud, and I ain't worried about the wrinkles around my smile. I got some scars. I've been around. I felt some pain. I've seen some things, but I'm here now. Those good old days. Those good old days.
You don't know what you got till it goes, till it's gone. You don't know what you got till it goes, till it's gone. I wish somebody would've told me, babe, someday these will be the good old days. All again, and all these reckless nights you won't regret. Someday soon your whole life's gonna change. You'll miss the magic of these good old days.
One end the road, time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hang it on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable and is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
you.